there! Welcome to episode 158 of the WaveBack Music Podcast. I'm a terrible person. My name is Kris.
And I'm a Matt!
And we're here to listen to the most interesting video game music there is. The Nintendo 64 is known for its multiplayer games, and possibly none were more popular than their first 3D iteration in a genre they themselves invented only a few years prior. Don't slip on a banana peel, because tonight we listen to the music of Mario Kart 64 for the Nintendo 64. Well, hello, Matt.
What's up, Kris?
So I was getting the music together for this episode, and I swear, you never hear the title screen to this game without Mario going, "Welcome to Mario."
Exactly.
And it bugs me out every single time, because we're going to listen to that song, and we're not going to have the voiceover on top of it. It's so strange. Anyway, how you been?
Can't complain. You?
I'm kind of excited. We got a fun Mario Kart episode. This music is just fills me with a ton of nostalgia, so I'm excited to sit here and give it a good old listen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I was putting the list together, I just kept like sitting back and listening to things and thinking like, man, these were the days.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Yeah, this was your pick, and
Yes,
a darn good one on top of that. I'm pretty stoked to listen to it. And I'm pretty stoked for what there's like a couple episodes I have picked out for this year that I'm just so itching to get to. I'm really, really excited about it. So we got a lot going on this year. It's going to be a good year for WaveBack. And we should just get right to business now.
Yes.
Like we didn't record an episode.
Nope.
This is totally not our second episode, 158.
Nope.
Patrons will know what we're talking about. Anyway, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Hit us with some history.
Certainly. Mario Kart 64 was released on the Nintendo 64 on December 14th, 1996 in Japan, and a few months later to the US on February 10th, 1997. When Super Mario Kart released for the Super NES in 92, most people didn't realize that not only had Nintendo just launched one of the most successful video game franchises of all time, but that they were effectively inventing a new genre, one that was arguably properly perfected with its follow-up, Mario Kart 64. In the game, you take control of a Mario character and race around themed tracks in go-karts. What truly set the game apart was the inclusion of items, which brought a bit of combat and extra strategy to the proceedings. Where Mario Kart took advantage of the Super Nintendo's Mode 7 scaling and rotation effects, Mario Kart 64's environments were fully polygonal, which means that elevations, jumps, tunnels, and more could be integrated into the game. The game was also 4-player right out of the box, a trait that has helped cement the Mario Kart franchise as a party staple for years. The game was a critical and commercial success, spawning numerous sequels, including Mario Kart 8, a game that continues to sell an absurd degree to this day.
I think it is sold to every man, woman, and child on the planet at least twice.
For the record, I don't own it.
How strange. Are you sure?
It's been inside of me the whole time.
You're just going to find like 3 copies in your desk. You didn't even know they were there.
Because my desk is such a mess. Yeah. No, it's truly, a side note, it's truly one of the like only games on my Nintendo Switch that I want so bad and yet can't bring myself to purchasing because it never goes down in price.
Yeah, it does not ever go down in price.
No,
that game is
it drives me up a wall.
$60 from day one.
Yep.
And it's a re-release of a
Yeah.
Wii U game.
Yeah.
That also sold for $60.
You
Bananas.
sons of... Anyway. Banana peels.
Banana, all over the course. Mario Kart 64's music was composed by Kenta Nagata. His previous credits include various other Mario Kart games, the original Animal Crossing, The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, and the new Super Mario Bros. Series. I love this game's soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
What's your history with Mario Kart 64? Why did you choose, of all the games in the universe, this game to center this episode on?
Well, Kris has a huge list of games that he wants to get to, and my job is to help him tick off those boxes. I scrolled the list and I said, oh man, I haven't heard Mario Kart in a long time. My personal history, though, is I love the Mario Kart series. I'm such a big fan of it. I'm terrible at it. I'm not The newer ones I'm just so bad at. The older ones I'm better at. But for me, it was always about the battle mode. I love, sitting with my buddies and just kind of PvP in it and just love. But 64, I have a deep love for the Nintendo 64. Like, the Super Nintendo will always be like my favorite Nintendo system, pretty much, which for some might be a bold claim. I think a lot of those share that sentiment. But the 64 has a very, very special place in my heart. I want to say it was one of the first systems, if not the first system I purchased with my own money. I was working, and there was a comic book / video game store in my neighborhood, and they had a used, system, and I paid for it, and and Mario Kart was one of the few games that I procured, and I played the hell out of it. And like I said, I loved playing with my buddies. You're right. It came out at a time where you're not quite, your parents might not quite let you go out by yourselves, or even still, this was still a time. It's 97. Yeah, so this was at a time where, you're still young enough to not be fully allowed out, maybe, but your friends are hanging out and stuff. So it just brings me back to like great times, and just countless, like plugging away countless hours. No real responsibilities, and just doing that. So the minute I saw the name Mario Kart 64, I said, yeah, we definitely got to do this.
Nice. Well, let's see. I got an N64 on launch day. It was a really awesome surprise from my mom, actually. Mm-hmm. My parents. I always say my mom because my dad is totally there and around. My parents are still together, but my dad's like, my mom makes the decisions.
Yeah.
So I was just dying for the N64. I was so beyond stoked for this thing. I had that VHS tape that Nintendo Power sent out with all the just the crazy hype machine in Mario Kart. Mario Kart R was listed in there before it was changed to Mario Kart 64. And the first thing that struck me about it was the fact that there were hills in it now, because Super Mario Kart is just flat mode 7.
Yeah.
And this had like 3D architecture. I was like, oh my God, that looks so good. And so I remember coming home from school one day. I think it was the day the N64 launched, actually. And my mom was wearing a Mario 64 t-shirt. She's like, oh, hey,
by the way,
put your backpack down. I reserved the N64 for you. We're going to Toys R Us to pick it up right now. And I was like, so we went to Toys R Us and got my Mario Kart 64, not my Super Mario 64, and like I just loved that game so much.
Yeah.
The N64 ultimately is probably my least favorite Nintendo system.
Yeah.
I have a lot of fond memories of that platform, but I also have a lot of not so fond memories of that platform. It's the system where things started to really go downhill for Nintendo. It's where this is where they dropped the ball and Sony picked it up and ran with it. And
yeah,
Nintendo
that's true.
They didn't get back to being on top. I would say Nintendo hasn't fully recovered until the Switch. Mm-hmm. Because obviously they never dropped the ball in the handheld department. They were always king. Like they kicked all the butt in the Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, DS, 3DS. They did great with all those platforms. But, N64 trailed significantly behind the PlayStation because of the whole, cartridge-based things versus CDs. And then they didn't recover with the GameCube. The Wii sold a bajillion systems, but nobody was buying games. It was just a totally separate entity from like the PlayStation 3 and the 360. And it was also the generation they decided, we're just going to stay back a generation as far as tech is concerned. We're just not going to go next gen. We're going to stay this and do this instead. And then the Wii U was the Wii U. And now we have the Switch where they're finally, back in major player status. But all the bad stuff started with the N64. However, there were things about the N64 that were undeniably better than PlayStation.
Yes.
The fact that there were 4 controller ports built right in, so you could play Mario Kart 64 day and date as long as you had controllers, 4-player Mario Kart, and it was sick. It was. I remember my friends and I would play Super Mario Kart a lot, and then when we finally got our hands on Mario Kart 64, it was like there was just no looking back. Super Mario Kart, I still love that game to death, but the battle mode, like you mentioned, was amazing. Just racing with 4 players at the same time, 4-player split screen. It was just a spectacular experience, and I spent so many hours in Mario Kart 64, both single player and multiplayer, and it was just it's a magical game. And I know there's a lot of folks out there that argue that Diddy Kong Racing is the better game. I disagree. I think Diddy Kong Racing is a cool game, but I think Mario Kart 64 is better in its simplicity. I just think it's more fun to pick up and play. It runs better, and I think it's got a better soundtrack. No offense to David Wise, I love me some David Wise, but there's this Mario Kart 64 soundtrack is, I think killer. I think it's one of the best soundtracks in the series, which we're about to hear.
Yeah, buddy.
So, Matt, this is your pick. Let's kick things off. What's our first track?
So, to kick us off, I thought, let's begin at the beginning, right? I basically, when I was picking these tracks, I just threw on the soundtrack and just let it play, and found myself just making a list of the songs that I thought, oh yeah, these are some of my favorites, some of the ones I remember the most, some frustrating ones too, and then whittling it down like I always do for all our shows. So I thought, let's start at the beginning. We're gonna listen to the very first track, title screen. I think I don't think it needs an introduction, except for the stuff that's missing from the actual music that you remember from the video game. So without further ado, jumping in, this is the title track to Super Mario Kart 64. So that was the title music to Mario Kart 64. And nothing gets me more amped, probably, than this song to play like a Mario Kart game. There's something just so, again, a lot of what I'm going to talk about is nostalgia based, but sonically, there's something about these synthesizers that really get me going. Like, I'm always... They're indicative of the time when 64 was really, churning out stuff. But, there's something about them that really just... I really, really enjoy. They almost feel, I don't know, synth-wavy in a sort of sense, but not. It's a very poppy kind of experience for me, which is... I don't know, you look at me, you listen to the other show, I'm not very poppy to begin with, but I do have that inside of me. So
I like this also jumps out and grabs me because of its very specific sound quality. Those synthesizers are very unique to this game. Mm-hmm. What always struck me about this one is that I didn't notice it at first until there was a point where, you usually turn it on and you hear this song for a couple seconds, then you get right to business, Yeah. Not usually sitting around listening to the title screen all that much, but I remember the first time I did listen to it, I realized that it is the Super Mario Kart title theme, just really slow. It's using the same melody from Soyo Oka's original Super Mario Kart theme and just playing it slowly. And that's when I started paying attention to every Mario Kart game since that had, the title screen eventually it devolves or evolves into Soyo Oka's original Super Mario Kart theme. It just sounds different all the time. And I always thought that was really cool. That is, as far as I know, the only piece of music that was reprised from Super Mario Kart in this game. But it's a pretty good one and a really clever reinvention of that tune.
Yeah, I really enjoy like when games get sequels or remakes and stuff, and they do that. I don't want to say they remix or rework or whatever, but I enjoy that when you hear a piece of music and then you kind of go, oh, wait a second, and it's a lot of fun. Because I personally am a big fan of remixes and mashups and all kinds of things because I'm just that guy. I like to hear new stuff. I like to hear old with new and new with old and so on and so forth. So, any hoozle.
Any hoozles indeed.
Keep it moving. This next one, I absolutely love this music. And this, too, is another piece of music, just like you said about the title screen, where most people don't sit and listen to it long enough, or they don't give it enough time to play through. You're just like, all right, button mashing into the game, right? And this is another one where I feel like it's kind of that, too. And when I really got to sit back and listen to it, I said, holy, this is great music. I'm talking about the selection screen.
Mm-hmm.
You pick your character. Normally this is where the most trash talk happens with me and my friends. Oh, you're gonna pick Donkey Kong? All right, well, I'll see you in the finish line, right? Like last, ha ha ha. All those little things. So a lot of trash talking. But anyway, this is the selection screen menu music from Super Mario Kart 64. Selection screen music from Mario Kart 64, and I am dropping a lot of stuff. That's great. What draws me to this song really is the lower register of it, that dum 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 dum, and I like that it's a little dirty, a little fuzzy too. It's not like this exclusively clean bass line. I'm a big fan of that. I mean, if you've been listening, I like the darker stuff. I like the kind of the dirtier stuff, the distortions and things like that. And I think this is a lot of fun, especially for this game, which really on a whole is kind of a bright, fun, joyous experience, except for when you're getting hunted by a red shell. But, I digress. But, to have this kind of like, it makes me feel like I'm at a pit stop where they're rotating my tires and gassing me up in 10 seconds. Like this very like intense little thing there, and again, like I said, we're talking trash to one another, me and my friends, and that's to me is like perfection. And this song just to be the soundtrack for that and the game is like chef's kiss.
Yeah, this is the song that I feel like properly gets you in the mood, right? Because the you started off with that title screen music, but like I said, you usually just skip that title screen music. This This is where the magic happens. This is where everyone's picking who they're going to be. This is where everyone starts arguing over which courses we want to go to. It's I love this menu music. I'm a big fan of menu music in general, and everything you said about the bass being kind of fuzzy is not really anything I had ever really thought about. But you're absolutely right. If this had been done with just a super clean bass, that it just wouldn't feel the same. This is
right,
and that what's it that that like organ keyboard kind of sound going in there, and then a little high piano doo-doo-doo. Like it's just perfect. It's a perfect menu music to get you revved up and ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Now when I was putting the track listings, I was like, damn, I really want to play this game. Now I really want to play this game. That's why I enjoy doing this show sometimes. It's like, oh man, I totally forgot how great this game was. Like, I gotta go back and play this. But, you and I both have that laundry list of games that we haven't played. It's like, Oh, speaking of which, you Patreons will know what I'm talking about, but for you guys who are not, sorry. Since our last phone conversation, oh my god. Since our last podcast conversation, I have downloaded Vampire Survivors. I have not played it yet. So. Anyway, back to Mario Kart. This next one. So the third track we're gonna listen to, I found. Again, I don't have Kris's. I'm not part of Kris's dark web of OST share spacers. I just like the idea that you have a dark web ring of aficionados who share soundtracks. It tickles me. I know it's not true, but it just tickles me. So when I'm listening to music or I'm picking for an episode or something, I use good old YouTube. So I found this track, I should say rather, was titled Three-Way Race and Mario Stadium. So when Kris has it for our listening pleasure, it's known as Mario Circuit. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. You know what? I'm just going to intro it like that. Hell, I'm the greatest podcast host there ever was. Ha ha ha. That's a joke. Anyway, enjoy the third selection from our Mario Kart 64 episode. So that was a multi-named level music from Mario Kart 64. The thing that grabs me about that one, again, is the bass line.
Yeah, I was just going to say the bass line's so good in that one.
So what I'm about to say might sound disparaging, but as I'm listening to it, I'm like, man, this bass line's great, and I'm just really honing in on it. And then I realize it's like, let's see, dum, 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 dum. It's like 7 or 8 notes, right?
It's the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, so it starts to get like maddening, and I'm like, if I wasn't driving a cart, at whatever 100 cc's, I might be listening to this and thinking, I need to. So I'm trying to put it in context, right? Listening to the music while thinking about playing the game, and it's one of these perfect songs, I think, to start the game off. If I'm not mistaken, it's probably one of the first few pieces of music you encounter on the track, and I think it's great because it's pulse pounding enough to get you like hyped up and like to really feel like, oh, I'm in a racing game, and then not only in a racing game, but on top of it, it's semi-combative. It's competitive on a racing level, but it's also competitive in that combat nature of red shells and speed boosts and stuff. So I think it's the perfect companion piece to the game itself, to the actual action on the track.
Yeah, well summed up. It's when you think about Mario Kart music, at least when I think about Mario Kart music and the stuff that gets reused more often than not, it's that Mario Circuit theme. The Mario Circuit is always kind of like your baseline track, your basic track, and it's the one that I come back to a lot, or the one that gets reprised a lot from the original Super Mario Kart. And this is kind of like the song for Mario Kart 64. Like everybody knows this song. It's because it's a killer track. It's really, really memorable. The bass line is indeed repetitive, but it certainly doesn't bother me. I think it's great. It's got a really good, really high energy. That the combination of the cadence of the bass line and that like they're really opposing and kind of like fitting together like cogs. They're just they form this perfect energetic cadence, which is I think great. I think this is just a brilliant piece of music.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of like of the two clashing kind of things, as you just mentioned, the high energy, dun, 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 and then that bass line just kind of walking and pushing through it. It works really, really well. It's a lot of fun to kind of hear the musical clash, so to speak. But that brings us to our fourth track. It's the file is titled Yoshi Valley, and I found it as Moo Moo Farm and Yoshi Valley, so we must be on to something. I'm a really big fan of this one. So we're just going to dive right in. This is Moo Moo Farm and Yoshi Valley from Mario Kart 64. Yoshi Valley, Moo Moo Farms. I absolutely love any song that starts with ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, 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 like
Yeehaw!
yeah. Yep.
That's a genuine hoedown right there.
Oh my god, it's so much fun. Like, I love it for two reasons. One, I think it's so hokey and corny, right? But two, there's actually something really fun about it in a non-ironic, genuine sense of things. And I just love it. This song, I think it's done so well. Like, I can see that farm level where like the moles pop out of the ground and stuff. You know, I could see it clear as day in my head, and it's all because of this music. This music is so intrinsically tied to that level for me that if I heard this music, I don't know, in Antarctica on my headphones, I would be thinking of, you know, this level. It's so wonderfully done. Every instrument in it is perfect. It's like a perfect choice. The composition is great. I can't say enough great things about it. And then there's the bongos towards the later section that are very much like Yoshi, like from Super Mario Brothers. They would do the and then so they threw that in there too. It's like, it's such a great, like the thing I think I love the most about kind of the Mario Kart games and stuff, and any game really where they have all the crossover characters, is they do not only a great job visually doing it and putting things in from all the games, but sonically and musically, they do a great job of like combining stuff and bringing in elements from the other IPs that are very much, you know, this is almost, you know, you'd only hear this in a Donkey Kong song, you'd only hear this in a Sonic the Hedgehog song, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They bring all this stuff together, and then you get this great kind of like smorgasbord of sound and sonic delight. And this is a prime example of that, of having those bongos from the Yoshi kind of pantheon and stuff. Love it.
See, for me, this song is way more tied to Yoshi Valley, and just being infuriated of like, it's just being lost, right? Because that stage, it was a maze, right? You know, everybody could take different routes and be like, who knows who's in what place? Because there's no like map. There's no way to say like this guy's in first or this guy's in fourth. And then like you get to that giant spinning Yoshi egg and everyone comes together like, all right, who's in the lead? How did you get that far ahead of me? What route did you take? Did you go left? I went right. What did And this music just encapsulates that fury for me. And I love the banjo, the whole situation. It's very farmish, and like I love Moo Moo Farm, but I like Moo Moo Meadows from Mario Kart Wii way more. That's like one of my favorite courses, and I freaking love that song. So this song in my head is just cemented as forever the Yoshi Valley song. Everything you said, 100% agree. It's a wonderfully put together song. It's so intrinsically goofy, and it's like this ridiculous hoedown thing, and it exudes a degree of chaos, which is such a perfect fit for that Yoshi Valley stage, right?
Yeah,
it's like, it just sounds unhinged, and that's what that whole race is. So
unhinged is the perfect word. Absolutely. I kind of forgot about that Yoshi debacle. How crazy that level is.
And you'll be like, oh, how did you get that far ahead of me? And then you're trying to like zip past the egg, and it just squishes you, and like, giant egg. You don't even make sense. What are you?
That's another thing I loved about the Mario Kart series as it got further on. It got just so whacked out, right? Like it just... Unhinged is absolutely the word for this series, but like in the best possible way, right?
Oh, for sure.
Oh man! All right, so the next track we're gonna listen to is called "Winning Results," and if I'm not mistaken, this is the one that plays when it's not in the points, or no, it's when they're delivering points, right?
Yeah, as soon as everybody's finished, you know?
Yeah, that's it. So,
this song,
yeah. You either had like, there were two ways this went, right? you were either really happy, or you're looking at the leaderboard going, there's no way I'm winning this. Like, I can't even come in first now. And
You're just thinking about a blue shell that hit you. You're like, I was first. I
Yep.
had this in the bag. I had this in the bag.
Yep.
And now you're just listening to this calm, chill menu music being like
Just stewing.
seething,
Oh,
stewing.
Yeah. Just living in it. All right, let's all stew together. Here we go. Winning results, Super Mario Kart 64. That was winning results from Super Mario Kart 64, and the minute those first few notes hit, I instantaneously remembered the feeling of being hit with a blue shell, knocked out of first, and thinking, I hate you. Whoever did that, I hate you. But to your point, right? Being that angry and seething during this, like, very calm and almost elevator music, mall music, such a dynamic that I think we've all gone through. But this music, apart from all that, the music's really good. This one's, in my opinion, a more simple piece of music that exists in this game, and I think it's a great piece to kind of cool you down. Because I mean, I don't know about some of you guys, but Mario Kart period is a full contact sport. And I don't mean just on the screen. If you can think back to when you were potentially playing this on the 64 with your 3 other buddies, we would hit each other while we were playing. Like anything to get an edge. Take an elbow in the ribs or something like that, you know what I mean? It wasn't just trash talking. We would be really sullen, about catching a red shell in the back or something. So, things can get pretty heated. So you get to the winning results and okay, all right. Halftime, switching innings, whatever. It's time to cool it off. All right, and then back into it again. So, but yeah, a thing of note here is the snare. There's something about this snare that like cuts right through it. But it's not like on the higher of like a piccolo or something like that. It's just a nice snare that cuts through, and it doesn't really give me anything, so to speak. It's just enough to keep the beat and kind of keep you, or I should say, keep me regulated. Like, okay, we're just chilling out right now. Okay, cool, got it.
Yeah, I think the choice to make this pretty neutral and chill was a stroke of genius, because if this was like more boastful, could have started a few extra fist fights there,
Yeah. Not in my case. We were already fist fighting.
Good way to chill things down a little bit. To just kind of put some soothing background music on so that the rage would settle back. No, this is a really, really nice piece of music. It's Nintendo had this happen a lot in Super Nintendo. Really, the sense of like really cool, chill elevator style menu music, you know. And I think a lot of back to Soya Oka's stuff from like the original Super Mario Kart or Pilot Wings, Sim City, and this game's menu music really just kind of fit in with that style, but felt more modern. So Kenta Nagata did a really, really awesome job with just kind of appropriately fitting the tone of everything happening in this game. Like it's goofy as all heck, but it never feels cheap. And
right.
I love that about it. It adds, it's weird to say a level of class to Mario Kart 64, but like I don't know how else to say it. It just is that's what it is. I think it's marvelous. Oh, and you know what? It just struck me. I said before that I thought the title theme was the only piece of music that was reprised from the Super Mario Kart, and I'm wrong. The next track is too. Just struck my brain like lightning. Like, of course this song. Of course this one.
And the song in question is the trophy presentation. We've all been there. We've all had our triumphs, and we've all had our failures. Hopefully you've had more triumphs than you've had failures, but I digress. Let's all live in the triumph of the trophy presentation as I present you this track from Super Mario Kart 64. Oh, congratulations, you made it to the end of that one. It's a short one, I'll admit, but there's something so
It's so
fantastic.
important. It's in every Mario Kart game.
Yes. Yeah. You need it. The word is important. That's absolutely the word. I love that song. It's so like short, but it's so perfect.
It's so triumphant.
Yes, we just did it. We just did it. That's great. That's it. That's our show. We're shutting down the WaveBack. Yeah, we shoved down the WaveBack. It's been great. Thank you, everyone. We love you.
We did it. We won.
Yeah. Someone get us a trophy.
We beat the final boss of podcasting.
What is that? Recording from two separate states with latency issues to say the same thing at the same time and jinx one another. We did it. Anyway, love the song. It's so triumphant, you know, no real pun intended. It's the perfect piece of music to end, you know, a circuit of, you know, 3 races of, you know, potentially punching your friends in the ribs and then getting to gloat. Or, you know, you're doing you're playing the game by yourself and it, you know, that game can get really challenging, and it can get really challenging really quick too.
Oh, for sure.
That's one of the things I've always really enjoyed about the Mario Kart series is like it doesn't pull any punches really. You have to get good and get good quick, like if you really want to not be frustrated, like I was. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah, this one's brings back a lot of memories of starting out and being like, there's nothing quite like watching your friends receive glory and trophies on the podium, and you being like, didn't quite make it, just didn't quite make it. So no, I love this song, and I'm always happy when, you know, because I played so much of Super Mario Kart, and Super Mario Kart's soundtrack was so ingrained in my head. So hearing any tracks from the original one reprised in 64 was like, I thought that was super cool. So, and this is a really good take on that song. So good job, Mr. Nagata, good job.
All around. The next one up on the chopping block is going to be Toad's Turnpike. I love that there's a lot of love for Toad, and then I love that there's a lot of hate for Toad. I think he doesn't get enough respect. That's just me. That's my hot take. But Toad's Turnpike, huh? Big fan of this one. So we're just gonna get to it. This is Mario Kart 64, Toad's Turnpike. That was Toad's Turnpike from Super Mario Kart 64. What I love again...
it is just Mario Kart 64, right?
Is it? I thought it was Super Mario Kart 64.
Yeah, no, Super was for the Super Nintendo, and everyone since has just been Mario Kart.
It's
pretty wacky.
I also need to read better.
I mean, the game is super. There's no getting around it.
Maybe that's what I'm doing. I'm putting the superlative in front of it. Maybe, that's the ticket. No, that makes a ton of sense. So, Toad's Turnpike, right? Again, it's another one of those things that I had the same takeaway from the title track, which is the synthesizers used in it are very strange. To me, as someone who listens to music with synthesizers, they're a very Super Nintendo sound, and I think that's what I love the most about them is like kind of the effect put on it. There's kind of like a sort of reverb in only the way like Super Nintendo could do it, but then when you couple it with like these bass lines, they just become something so much better. Not to say they were bad to begin with, they just I like it so much more. And this track, a big fan of it. There's something very I don't know if this makes any sense when I say it, metropolitan about it.
For sure.
It makes me think of the concept of what metropolitan is, right? Like this very clean-cut metropolitan aspect. As someone who lives in a Metropolis. It's absolutely not that. But anyway, it's like what a video game thinks a Metropolis is like. So the idea that it's called Toad's Turnpike, really kind of ties it all up in a nice, neat bow. I'm a big fan of this one.
Yeah, I like this one a lot, and I always forget that I do, because it starts off so, like, I mean, for lack of a better word, it starts off kind of bland. But then as soon as it gets going, like, it's a really good melody, and I love this track, this is such an interesting track, because it's just an oval. There's nothing interesting about this track except for there's traffic everywhere. And you can, like, jump over the trucks and stuff like that. This track is so intense, and it's just a circle. It's the closest I've ever come to understanding NASCAR is playing this track.
And they had to introduce traffic for you to understand it.
Exactly. and mushrooms.
Oh, wait.
You heard me.
Oh, okay. All right. No, all right. Never mind. Proceed.
Yeah, it's a really nice song. It's definitely it fits the plotting nature of this too. Like it is very intense, and that constant the scales going up and down in the background kind of really lend to that intensity of it. But it's also such a simple kind of like cruising track. You're not going through hairpin turns or anything. It's just this is stay the course, but it's also mind your surroundings. And I think this song really nails the feeling that this track was going for, especially the nighttime. Because it's a dark stage that's taking place at night, so there's something metropolitan and nighttime-ish about its overall feel. It's really nailed it.
Metropolitan at night. All right, that brings us to our 8th offering, which I don't know, man. Cocoa Mountain. There's I don't know.
They just added this to Mario Kart 8 in the DLC. Like in the last DLC thing, was it last month before, I think?
Something like that, yeah. I'm angry, and right, and I love it. So it feels like a family member. We're gonna play the track, and then we're gonna talk about it afterwards.
Love it.
Is it Choco Mountain? Or is it?
I always thought it was Choco Mountain, like chocolate.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know how to actually pronounce it.
I'm gonna go with Choco Mountain because that looks right to me. This is Choco Mountain from Mario Kart 64. Choco Mountain.
Just thinking of those giant chocolate hunks.
Yep.
Rolling down.
Yep.
Oh, I'm totally not going to hit those. Oh, I hit them!
Yeah. I'm on the trajectory now. And then they do like an awkward bounce. And you're like, oh, come on. So I love this song the way I love Yoshi Valley.
I am surprised at the number of hoedowns you chose for today's episode.
I can't help it. They're fun. I have a sixth sense of humor, Kris.
And I'm not complaining, just surprised.
I don't know. I was feeling really froggy when I put this list together. That being said, I really do love this song, right? It's just so much fun. And I think that's the nostalgia trip I have for this game, is that it's a lot of fun. I remember being just countless afternoons with my buddies, playing this game. And even though, we'd get genuinely butthurt by losing and stuff, we really had a lot of fun. And I look back on it very fondly. I would never trade it for anything in the world. And so this music definitely gives me, it gives me those like fun vibes. It gives me like the old nostalgia for it and stuff. But sonically speaking, it's just a fun song. Like, its orchestration and choice in instruments, like the synthesized harmonica. Like, it's cheesy. Doesn't sound like a harmonica, not really, but you get the idea. And I think that's fun. It's like, look, we're just doing our best here, man. All right, just relax, just relax and have fun.
I was about to say it sounded better than like harmonica like sounds sounded on the Super Nintendo, but then I thought about Yoshi's Island. It's like, no, that sounded more like a harmonica than this one.
Yeah.
But no, it's I also rather enjoy this song's ridiculous nature. This juxtaposes against the course itself the same way that the title does. You look at this course without any outside influences, and it just looks like you're driving through a pretty bland, foggy mountain course. But when you realize that the mountain is made of chocolate, and then you plop this completely goofy music on top of it, then, oh, okay, this is very silly.
Absolutely. And then that's what I love about it. It's like, the game is serious. Like, people get very competitive about this game. But, like, when you really dissect it all, it's like, you're getting serious about a game that doesn't even take itself seriously.
Yeah, it definitely does not take itself seriously.
And that I think is the appeal, for me, at the very least. I love something that the only thing it takes seriously is its goofy nature. Like Police Squad or Naked Gun.
God, I love Police Squad.
Police Squad's so good.
All right, what's next?
Next on the list is our 9th selection, and I pretty much chose this for you, Kris, because I know you're such a big Donkey Kong fan. But I also, too, really enjoy this piece of music. It's Donkey Kong's Jungle Parkway, and we're just going to dip right into it. It's from Mario Kart 64, DK's Jungle Parkway. That was DK's Jungle Parkway. from Mario Kart 64. It's another one to me that is very plotting, and it just keeps it going. It's no frills per se. It's very much what's the word? Like, it's very much tied to the level, tied to the thematic elements of the level and the character and stuff. I was mentioning before how I love when they do a crossover game that includes, several IPs and stuff, and they try and make it so that, like, now you're visiting Donkey Kong's land. Now you're visiting Sonic the Hedgehog's land, stuff like that. So you get the full package as opposed to it just being like, it looks sort of like Donkey Kong's land. It might kind of sound like Donkey Kong's land, but it's... right. So I think this track is really much... is very much, rather, that, where you get the full package of this, dark, dense jungle, perhaps, and kind of everything that is... if you were to boil it down, Donkey Kong's, Donkey Kong lands and every one of those Rareware games and stuff, you boil it down, this is kind of what you would get to some extent, and I think it's fantastic.
I like this one. It's all percussion, which is super cool. It's fun enough to listen to. I just remember when I was a kid being kind of disappointed that it wasn't more in line with Donkey Kong Country's soundtrack. Mm-hmm. Donkey Kong Country has such an amazing soundtrack,
of course,
as did the second one, and then there's not a whole lot to it. It's an interesting song. And I'm always reminded of when you get to the final lap and this music starts playing ultra fast. It's like, it's really intense. But there was always a twinge of disappointment that it wasn't more melodic and exciting like the classic Donkey Kong Country music. But still, a darn good song.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. It's a little simplistic. Because you're right, those soundtracks from Donkey Kong, a few episodes we've done already. You should go back and listen to them if you haven't. They're so fascinating and so just well put together and very just very dynamic. And this here is not. There's real no dynamic nature to it, but again, still a great track nonetheless. So
agreed.
I do like the dynamic of the game, though, how you have these pieces of music that are really up and pushing and plotting and pulse pounding, and then you get these kind of, this ebb and flow to the game. It's a lot of fun. We talked about that with the winning music and the trophy music and stuff, so.
Yeah.
This one here, our 10th offering now, normally it's at this point we say our final track of the show, but we had to put in an 11th, and I don't think you're going to get angry with us, but until then, we're going to deal with our 10th. I found this to be called Versus and Battle Mode Results. Kris's track is Time Trial Results. I remember this as the battle mode. I spent a lot of time in the battle mode with my friends. I said that early on in the episode, and
yeah.
This might have been the soundtrack to, like... 2 years of my life, or an entire summer at the very least. Spring and summer, this is the soundtrack, and I guarantee you, if I press play, or when I press play, I'm gonna feel an elbow in my ribs. So guard your ribs. This is the Time Trial Results. This is Versus. This is Battle Mode Results. It's Mario Kart 64. that was the time trials results versus and battle mode results. I can't tell you just how much we heard that. In between, like, go to get a soda, you want something? Get it yourself. I'm mad at you. All those, all those jabs you take at each other as teenagers and stuff. I might sound like I'm, poo-pooing it a little bit, and I'm absolutely not. I would love to hop in a time machine and go back and do it all over again. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, we definitely had some battle mode times in this one, and this is far less calming than racing music.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh man, it's extremely memorable. I'll give it that. It's there's not a lot to it. Like, I don't really know what to comment on the actual music itself, but boy, the feeling that this one elicits, that's a nostalgic feeling right there that does not go away.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, sonically, it's another track that it's again very well put together. It's got a calmer tone than a lot of what the game offers. But I think it's perfect because if you're someone that's actually paying attention to whatever results you're looking at, it's kind of what you want, right? You're ingesting information. Perhaps you're really like I said, people take the competition very seriously. So perhaps you're sitting there and you're thinking, all right, look, if I've got to beat this time, where am I cutting corners? Because now you're devising your strategy. If I'm going to beat my friends, how am I going to do it? Like, I gotta figure this out, and I feel like that's music that allows you to do that. It's, it doesn't beg for you to pay attention to it. It's just background music, and in the best possible way to be background music. Well,
that brings us to our last track then.
Absolutely.
This one, we don't always stick 10, We don't, as far as WaveBack is concerned, we're a little faster and looser. We just kind of tend to aim for 10 because, that's about how long we want these episodes to go. But when Matt gave me his list, this one just needed to be on it, and there was nothing to cut. Like, there was nothing to cut, and I considered making the argument like, screw it, let's just do the rest of them too. But we just don't have that kind of time.
No, yeah, I mean, listen, the whole soundtrack is fantastic. It's a lot of fun to listen to. I did it like 3 times.
Yeah, I think there's only like 3 or 4 proper songs that we were missing, but there was just
right.
It's just too much. This one, however, though, yeah.
So, our last selection for the day is going to be Rainbow Road. I mean, you play this game and that's where you want to get to. It's probably sometimes the most frustrating level you'll play. It's the most rewarding level, I think, too. It's Rainbow Road. Like, I shouldn't have to say any more, and I'm not going to. Mario Kart 64, Rainbow Road. Enjoy. That was Rainbow Road. It's just a majestic beast of a track. It's everything that Rainbow Road is as a level, right? It's sweeping, it's grandiose, it's colorful, it's just a wonderful piece of music.
I think it's possibly the most beautiful piece of music to ever come out of an N64. This stage knocked me on my ass when I first played it because Super Mario Kart's Rainbow Road, the original Rainbow Road, was a nightmare.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
By design. It was like, all right, you've made it to the end. There's no walls. There's thwomps everywhere. The ground is a colorful rainbow mishmash of distraction. You can't see the question blocks. This stage is a nightmare. And they went the complete opposite direction with Mario Kart 64's. Because by sticking with that space theme, they changed the rainbow course itself to this stunningly gorgeous just floating rainbow in space, and they added these huge hills and speed boosts, and they added walls. So there's no constant falling off in this course. It's just a marathon. It is far and away the longest course in the game, and so the song reflects that. It's this incredibly long marathon of a song to go with this giant marathon of a course. It's shockingly gorgeous. The whole thing, the fact that it's the way the bass line is so cleverly switches octaves, like when the music starts to build with that halfway through it switches octaves all the way back down to the bottom, where it could have kept going up, but by switching the octaves back down, it kind of brings that calm back to it. Like it gets into that kind of like disco beat with the drums, where it's like it builds and builds and builds and builds, and then just cuts back to the driving, like that whole thing just stays constant, keeps the whole wonderful driving rhythm going throughout this entire song. And it's a really simple thing, but for some reason the placement of the open hi-hat hits in this I just think are so clever, and they're really subtle. They just happen a couple of times throughout, but I think they just add so much to this song on a ridiculous degree. I could not love this song more. It's one of my favorite songs from the entire N64 catalog. I used to love doing time trials on this track. And just like back in my bedroom when I was a kid, I had like Christmas lights up on around the ceiling. And there were the multicolored Christmas lights.
Of course,
so I'd turn off all the lights in my room and have the Christmas lights on, and then play Rainbow Road on time trials. And it was just like there's something just so magically calming about it. I just love this song. I just absolutely freaking adore this song. I think it's a masterpiece.
I mean, I can't add anything to what you just said. Like, everything you said is absolutely accurate, right? Just how I think they're able to achieve this sweeping element to it, because I find, and when I say sweeping, I mean both metaphorically and like actually. I feel like there's a lot, like when I listen to this song, my head slowly lolls to the left and then slowly lolls to the right. But it's because of how the synthesizers are being played, and I even think there's a little bit of what do you call it, 3D spatial. Yeah, there's definitely some kind of panning involved in there. Oh
yeah, with the little starry sounds that go back and forth. Oh yeah, magnificent.
It's such a great what's the word? It's a great use of the spatial areas of the, the 3D spatial awareness and so forth. Just a brilliant piece of music. I like I said, I can't add much to it apart from just talking about how they messed with the 3D imaging in the brain. So
yeah, I just love how they took Rainbow Road in this direction after after the nightmare course that was Rainbow Road and Super Nintendo, which I also love. But like ever since this one, they've kind of meshed the two of them, They've made Rainbow Road continues to be this like really gorgeous outer space thing, but then a lot of now it's back to being known for not having walls and being
Right.
extra dangerous, but also
Yep.
being super long. So it's really neat that this just took it in such a different direction, especially the music. Like the song for Super Mario Kart's Rainbow Road fit that stage to a T. It is a nightmare. It is bendy notes. It is super intense. It is like, this is just chaos.
Isn't there if I remember correctly, there's like a big roller coaster drop at some point very early on.
Then this in the 64 one, yeah, right, straight off the bat, you get that giant.
Yep.
Love it.
Brilliant. Yeah.
All right. That's it, right? That's all we got.
Yes, sir.
That wraps up Mario Kart 64. All right, that is our show. Join us next time. We'll actually bring you the 2022 WaveBack Awards for realsies. For real this time.
Hey.
Unlike the last couple of years, we have combed through the best of what the year had to offer in terms of video game music. And in league with our panel of judges, we've narrowed down, or will narrow down, our choices for the best music of 2022. Who will win? You'll have to wait and see. Yes, that's right. We are officially doing real WaveBack Awards, like a real award show episode next month. Making it happen.
Yep.
Folks.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a thing. Mark your calendars.
We here at the WaveBack Podcast are incredibly grateful to everyone who listens, and we love communicating with you when we can. And we have a couple of ways you can do that. There's the Geekade Discord channel, in which we have a WaveBack chat where we frequently discuss all manner of stuff related to video game music and whatever our next episodes are going to be. Of course, you can still always send us an email at mail@geekade.com, and while you're at it, check out all our social media channels, which you should totally follow, like, and subscribe to if you haven't already. WaveBack and other Geekade podcasts are made possible thanks to the Geekade Patreon page. There, patrons can get early access to a monthly podcast topic recording schedule, get early access to most of Geekade's shows, including this one, and more. If you've enjoyed our podcasts over the years, follow the link in the description and give it a look. We really appreciate it. Finally, as always, be sure to check out all the other great content we have on our site over at geekade.com. Matt?
Yes, sir.
What will we be leaving with today?
We will be leaving you with the Victory Lap / staff roll music selection. The show has a habit of saying, you know what, we're going to throw the ending credits at our ending credits. And because it's only me and Kris, here are the ending credits to Mario Kart 64. It seems like a very fitting way to end the episode and send you off into whatever else is going on with the rest of your day, evening, or otherwise.
Yeah, there you go. Well, here it is. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next time.